Did you know that God did not create a man first? Did you know that? That men were not created first. This is like a bubble buster for a lot of people because that is not the program running in our minds and the thoughts and the consciousness, right? We have been engineered, how engineer something. We have been behaviorally, emotionally engineered throughout history, throughout the recent history, to believe that the prime creator created a man first before a woman. That is the teaching of the fallen angels. That is inversion of reality. And I know some of you are going to be so blah, blah, blah. It's not in the Bible. The Bible is not blah, blah. No. The Bible is only 5,000 years old. 5,000 years old. Man and woman has been existing here on this planet for millions of years. And some people cannot explain to me the disparity because they don't know. They don't know. Ignorance, as they say, is bliss. And knowledge is power. Because the masses lack the knowledge. That is why the elite in their different facets, religious elites, political elites, all kinds of elites in their various forms and shapes. That's why they control people. And that's why they control the masses, because they know the masses are heads of sheep, right? The masses are group think. They think in group, they think as a body. And the masses cannot think. It is an individual person that reasons and thinks. That is why we've established this platform to expose some of the hidden information that are being hidden from people for ages, right? So if I ask a hypothetical question, the very first time you had this very idea that God created a man, like a male first, where were you? And what system taught you that? Is that your family system, your cultural system, or religious system, or the combination of all of them? When you are growing up, you took this information to be fact and you internalize it and you grew up with it. And that is being reinforced over and over through religious indoctrination. Religion is very strong. And as I've told people, religion has to do with binding you to a hive mind system where you cannot reason. You cannot reason. Your reason stops, right? And people are scared because people mistook religion for spirituality. Spirituality is the thing, is the real thing. Spirituality is the ideal. That is what elevates, there's a place called heaven, that's what leads you to heaven. It's not a church, right? It's not a mosque, right? It's not a temple as a physical building or the doctrines taught by these people, right? They are only fostering the control mechanisms of the elite who rule the world. The masses have to be controlled politically, militarily, and religiously. These are the systems of control of the people, right? So, if God did not create a man first, then how did this teaching conquer the consciousness of humanity? If you just do your due diligence, but some people don't that's what I'm saying, that a lot of people just prefer to sit down in front of somebody to teach them stuff. Your professor teach you stuff. You don't know that most of the things your professor is teaching you can be challenged, because your professor is doing what? Reinforcing the doctrines of the mainstream system. The same thing with your pastor, the same thing with your bishop or your pope. They are reinforcing the doctrines and the philosophies, the theories of the mainstream system. And the mainstream informational highway is nothing but lies upon lies upon lies, tailored towards controlling the masses. So Men has utilized the very notion that they were created first to do what? Suppress women, subjugate, intimidate. These are the product of the very diabolical, devilish concept, be it biblical, be it in the Quran, be it in other sacred texts around the world. This very notion that when the prime creator decided to make what you call human, it created a male being first, is a perversion of reality, is a corruption that exists on the planet, and that corruption is new. That corruption is new, very, very new. There is something, there's a virus that came upon this planet a few thousand years ago, and that has to do again with the fallen angels, So this teaching actually is the teaching of the fallen angels. But some of you are going to say, oh, but it's in the Bible, therefore it's God, It's in the Bible. Therefore, it is God who said it. No, it is not. When you mean God as the prime creator, the original one is not the original one who is promoting that teaching. That teaching is the left brain system, is the negative, what you call the left part system. Why do they do that? Before 6,000 years, something happened on this planet around 6,000 years ago or 4,000 BC. Do your research, do your due diligence. Most of this religious indoctrination, the organization of the human society begin to emerge 4,000 BC or 6,000 years ago. That was about the time the Bible was written. So most of you think the Bible was written from, or the Quran, as the case may be, was written from the beginning of the world. No. The whole world is fucked up. People's minds are fucked up, right? So it was around this 6,000 years ago, 4,000 BC, that consciousness shifted from a feminine-centered energy to a masculine-centered energy. Do your due diligence. Don't just argue. Don't just say, I believe. Of course, you can do that if that's what serves your purpose, right? But then that is a third density kind of reasoning process. That is not true history. That is a fabricated history. That is a deception of the fallen angels. Or in the Sumerian language, you call these beings the Anunnaki. They are the ones who presented here, conquered this our galaxy, and colonized our galaxy and infested or infected the consciousness of man with what you call the left brain energy. So, for the past 5,000 years ago, the male energy, the demonic energy, introduced a new form of consciousness into the minds of humanity. This is a virus. And when I say virus, I mean literally a virus, because these are software inserted in the electromagnetic frequency, or the frequency band that controls this third density level. I'm talking of high advanced metaphysics here. So these are like virus introduced into the wave that controls matter, that controls the physical realm, and that conquered mankind, that conquered what you call humanity's consciousness. And they begin to codify such teachings in sacred scriptures, not just in Christianity or in Islam, when this male-dominated consciousness is supreme, in other religions as well, other major religions of the world. Women are taking the back seat. When I was a child reading the Bible, being catechized in the Catholic institutional setting, we were all taught that Adam was a male who was created first by God. I didn't know no better. And not just within the context of the Christian religion or the Islamic religion or these other religions. Even culturally, our culture teach. My culture teaches, and so are many other cultures, that a man is before a woman. No, it is not possible spiritually. It is not possible religiously. It is not possible scientifically. If there is a being who came first, it is the feminine. It is the female that came first before a man. A man cannot come first. But you see how the consciousness of mankind has been changed. That when I'm saying this kind of thing, it looks awkward to a lot of people. It looks strange. Like, what are you talking about? Everybody knows that. No, people don't know. People who teach it don't know. They are promoting information that came 5,000 years ago. When you go back in time, prehistory, archaeological evidence, paleontological evidence, scientific evidence, genetic evidence, even religious evidence showing you that before 6,000 years ago, that the society, the human society was organized around a matriarch or matriarchy or matriarchal system, right? During the Paleolithic period, you're talking of maybe 10,000 BCE. There's nowhere on planet where this male-dominated energy reigned. Is new on the planet. It's only 5,000 years ago. I remember most of you will say, oh, but the Bible is the word of God, is absolute word of God. No, it's a humanly created. Of course, there are influence, and some of the influence in the scripture or in the Bible are from the negative part, from the negative side. They are not of quote unquote the supreme creator, as some of you may believe. But as I say, I'm busting a lot of bubble, but it's difficult because when you say this kind of thing, people think, oh, what I'm saying. Um, People think, oh, you're teaching an evil teaching, but they are the ones who are believing the evil system. They're the ones believing the program. They're the ones believing the lies of history. So you cannot, if there is anything closer to God, is a woman. Is a woman. There's a scientific terminology called parthenogenesis. Before the vibration of man changes, before these beings introduce this frequency that changed the consciousness and changed the mind, women used to get pregnant by themselves. Immaculate conception is not just something we see in the New Testament. It has always been there, called parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is a scientific term where women get pregnant by themselves. But again, the vibration of the planet has changed by these beings called negative beings, the Anunnaki, Lucifer, Satan, or whatever you may call them, aliens, right? They are fourth density level being, talking of high advanced metaphysics. These beings who introduced this form of teaching that conquered the minds of the people and changed reality. We are fourth density level of being. The demonic being from fourth density. Remember, we are in third density. They are one step above us, and they are the one who colonize. You see how we say Europeans went around the world colonizing the world? That is how these fourth density beings colonized the planet. And when you do your due diligence of research, you discover that mankind was rapidly switched over from the Paleolithic era to the Neolithic era. The Paleolithic man was a free man. The Paleolithic man organized his society around the female, not a man, right? The Paleolithic man understood that a woman is before a man. A woman came first. A woman was created first. Until recently, 5,000 years ago, in the context of the entire history of our planet, is like yesterday. Until yesterday, when these beings, these entities, changed consciousness. And we see from that moment, the Neolithic man, from that Neolithic mentality, something happened on the planet. Something happened that switched things around. The original creator, the original program on this planet was a program centered on the divine femininity. And today, when you talk of feminine qualities like emotions, like feelings, is looked down upon. But that is the real divine thing. That is the real. Men begin to elevate themselves. Remember, it's not just a man doing it. There's something behind the movement. Is a software, is a malware. I don't know how to explain this. I know if you understand quantum physics, you discover that we live in a hologramic universe or holographic universe. Read a book by, I think his name is Michael Talbot, known as the holographic universe. He breaks the nature of our reality down very well. You're going to understand that the thing you think you see is not actually there. There's a perception deception. There's a simulation to your senses that makes you believe that what you're looking out there in the real world is, because everything vibrates. Nothing is steady. If you're touching something you think is concrete, you think is real, it's because of the electromagnetic resistance between two forces or two energies or two frequencies, right? That is what manifests what we call density. Density. That's what manifests what you see as concrete, right? So these advanced beings who came here are advanced. When I say advanced, they look like here they're 1 million years above humans in knowledge and science, advanced science. When I say science, I don't know any other language to describe their capacity to operate and to control things. But that is the human language I'm using, science. They are highly advanced in science and technology. And they are the one who begin to project vibration and change the mind. Your mind has been changed, but you don't know that. Your original self has been changed, beginning from 5,000, 6,000 years ago, or 4,000 BC. If you do your research very well, anyone who is a scholar, just go and find out what I'm saying. Before 4,000 BC, the world was different. This male energy, war-driven, conflict, fighting, exploitation, organizing society based on exploiting others, slavery, all these things came as a result of this intervention by these interdimensional entities who influenced the world through their malware system or through their virus they interjected within our dimension, right? And that is what is ruling um, the minds of the human. And we see that following the advent of what they call the Neolithic era, right? The Neolithic era by 4,500 BC, we see that man began to form the idea of war, exploitation. You begin to develop what they call priesthood. Today, we pastors and bishops. These are negative people who don't really lead you to the creator, because what leads you to the creator is spirituality. But this idea of shamanism, began to develop following the introduction of what you call the Neolithic period, 4,500 BC. We also see in history that it was from that period that what you may call the Indo-Europeans, the Aryan race, right? Do your research, do your due diligence. It was after this period, you see the Aryan race begin to expand, coming out of the Middle East, begin to infiltrate the entire planet, begin to conquer the original indigenous people. Many of you will, let me drink water. Many of you, especially Africans, we just like upset with white people. White people exploiting us. They did this to us. They too were victims of this new consciousness that came upon the planet. Something utilized it. Something used their frequency to propagate this extremely left brain system that is controlling the world today. And they suppressed what we call the right brain system, which should be the system that should run the world. The feminine energy is what should run the world, and not the masculine energy, because that was the original of creation. Remember, this guy wrote a book called Soul Revolution. I think his name is Dr. Shmuel Asher or Asher. He's a very intelligent um, um, uh, Jewish guy who wrote this wonderful, very, very brilliant. He explained to you what happened as well in that book. So they reformatted the world. There was original creation. The original creation was woman was at the center, the feminine energy, because even if you look at quantum physics today in the world, in our modern world, 96% of the entire world, entire reality is feminine, not masculine. It's only tiny fraction, maybe 4% is masculine, right? So the original creation was centered around feminine energy. divine femininity, right? So they came and they conquered and they corrupted that original initial order of creation. And they are the ones who codified this error, this falsehood into sacred texts, not just in the Bible, in the Quran, in other um, scriptures or doctrines. So begin to propagate it, and men, working with uh, arrogant, like, oh, we are created first, and then women have to be subservient. You know, that's a negative order on this planet, and it should not be. So after this period of the invasion, something invaded, not just non-human entities or non-human frequency, if you want, invaded humanity's consciousness beginning from the Neolithic era. And from that moment, if you read your history very well, you're going to see that Indo-Europeans began from what they call the Aryan race, right? Some people link this Aryan race to the Orions. Some people will trace the etymology of Aryan to Orion. And why is Orion important? Because the entities, the interdimensional entities, or what we may call the reptilians, there are entities that live in Orion, and these are warlike beings who like to conquer different planetary systems. They make war in different planetary systems, conquer, and the planet Earth is one of their targets because the Earth contains human beings, souled human, and they want that fire of your soul. So they introduced another frequency and changed, or what this guy, Dr. Shmuel Asher, described as reformatting of the original creation order. They reformatted the original creation order and placed feminine energy down. Up to now, women are suppressed. you know, but that is actually the devil standing on the original creation. That is the devil standing on the original. That's why women, anything feminine energy is repressed. Even in human interaction, if you're emotional, they say, oh, you're behaving like a woman, which people think is negative. But it should be positive. Feelings, emotional, love are the order of the original creator. But now they change the frequency to analytical, critical, male-driven, left brain system. That is what is running the world. And what do we get? Wars, fighting, destruction of the planet, all kinds of evil, because the energy of our planet is imbalanced. Male energy is imbalanced because that was not the original order that should govern the planet. And as long as this infestation, remember I'm talking of infestation, I'm talking of the archons. Yeah, I'm talking of high metaphysics, which should be beyond a lot of people's understanding, right? Because I'm talking of highly occult knowledge, right? Highly esoteric knowledge. So the archons infested the minds, the frequency band of this very minute electromagnetic field we exist in. So the wave you're downloading every day is a negative wave, unless you realize what is going on. You can free yourself from this kind of negative infestation, right? If you are the one promoting this kind of teaching that woman was created first, remember, it's a negative energy, it's a negative, it's wrong teaching, But you see how it hijacked the minds of people, right? That people may hear me talk about this and they say, oh my goodness, that's a wrong teaching. Of course, it is wrong for you because your minds have been, a frequency bar or a prism that you don't see has been placed on your consciousness to transcend beyond this negative teaching. So women are not last, women are first. Women are first. Even science will tell you that, science has a lot of problem, but it has a limitation. But even science will tell you that a man cannot come first. You can't do that. So why do they keep promoting it? Because they want to destroy the original order of creation. And From that moment, following the Neolithic period, 4500 BC, we also see that the Indo-Europeans, that was when they began to expand across the planet, spread and to supplant indigenous people, because indigenous people carry the original DNA. They carry the original blueprint of creation, right? And they begin to supplant, they begin to invade and conquer, and then they don't just conquer your land, they conquer your mind as well. Many Africans and other indigenous people around the world no longer retain the original consciousness of the true creation or the origin of their ancestors, so to say. It's been destroyed. It's been destroyed completely. People call themselves today, they're educated. Something has supplanted their consciousness. Something is living, an invasion. There's a parasite in their mind. And that parasite is on the negative side. Everything indigenous is destroyed, demonized. Most of you Africans, for example, will go and be condemning your ancestral belief systems. You don't know that that was the original of the true creator. You see your indigenous belief systems as evil, you see, because that's how these beings, that's how they did. They supplanted. Sometime there was a Greek tragedian, I think his name is Achilles, who wrote a work called Supplanter, and was talking that about supplanting a race of people, the regional people, to something else. You know, if you live in Africa, you've gotten your education, you're church-driven, your consciousness, the original divine program is a code in your consciousness has been taken away, and you are on the negative path, but you believe you are on the truth. That's how these things work, right? Name anywhere you go in the world that indigenous people have not been supplanted in the name of what? Civilization. That which you call civilization is not civilization. It's a parasite. It's an invasion. There's something that is infestation. Your mind is infested because you cannot see from the other side. If you see truly the interdimensional reality, if you see truly the wave frequency you're downloading, you know those things are parasitic beings and they're archons. The archons are demonic forces or satanic forces. Their goal is to eliminate, like delete all indigenous memories on the planet, every indigenous memory on the planet. And some of you think, well, I'm still indigenous because, no, your original soul consciousness, the blueprint has been destroyed. The blueprint has been taken away. And what you see is an alien consciousness. And that is why you believe that your ancestors worship the demons. It's a program. It's a program. Your ancestors were more closer to heaven, if there's, if I should use that religious terminology, religious language. They are more closer to the truth. They are more closer to God, the prime creator. They are more closer than you are today. They are righteous. They are good. You know how the Bible said that God made everything was good? They were good. Today, the consciousness, even in the church going, Bible carrying, tongue speaking, the quality of truth in us has declined. And something is responsible for doing this. And the invasion continues over and over. Look at what happened in North America. Native Americans, what you call Native Americans, were exterminated. They're deleted. I'm talking of high metaphysics. And I'm not talking to the materialist. Something is deleting them on the memory. This is not like something you just go and political fight. It's not a political fight thing. It's an interdimensional war. A war is going on between the original creator and the alien invaders. And I said it. A war is going on. There's an interdimensional war you don't see. And that war is the fallen realm supplanting, replacing the original program, the original blueprint of creation. So the reality in which you live today is a false reality. Religion is false. Religion is evil. Religion is not nice. Religion is a program, right? And so these other programs running on this planet, the intention is to remove the original idea of who you are. And there are many PhD holders who they can replicate Western history, they can replicate Western science. But when you go to that original, indigenous, original blueprint of God, they don't know it. So these people live with a foreign consciousness in their mind. And that is one of the things I always tell people. One of the reasons that Africa, for example, is in the place it is today is because the original program is being supplanted, replaced, and we are operating in a false consciousness. You know, we are operating with these minds that have been invaded for a few thousand years with alien parasitic entities. And this is what you're fighting. So the fight or the war is not physical. It's not physical. And what is going on is deep. As I said, if you read the history of North America and quote unquote Columbus coming from Europe in 1792, um, crossing the Atlantic Ocean and going to the New World. And then after that, something happened to the indigenous people. And you have to study the history of indigenous people there. You know, they lived peacefully in harmony with nature, even though the European writers begin to. So they are making wars and killing themselves. Those are all part of the propaganda, right? You know, the same thing happened to Africa. Once this new, and I'm not asking people to go and be hating on white people, because they were just conduit. They're a frequency that use their system, the frequency that use them, and the purpose is to replace all anything indigenous got to be destroyed. The memory has to be wiped out, and that is where the atrocity of history lies. There are many things about indigenous people that have been erased, deleted. The system is deleted. You can't see it anymore. And I'm telling you that the reason was that the alien invaders, the parasitic vampires who came from, some say, Orion demons, right, wanted to replace the original order of creation, right? And from that moment, woman became evil. Evil. A woman became evil. Even some of you who quote the Bible know that Eve was made evil. Adam was a nice one. Adam wasn't there. We wonder where he went to when the serpent was talking to Eve. These are the programs that condition your mind to look at women as inferior, as a tempter, as a um, weak partner, or as a weak creature. And that is why men think that they are the strong one because they were not tempted and deceived by the devil. It was Eve. Many people, even preachers, quote some of these preachers are as daft as it could be. They're just entertainers, literally entertainers, right? They're just entertaining people. They don't have deep knowledge. They don't know what they're talking about, most of them. So you see religion replicating this program, this viral program, this demonic program that a woman is inferior, a woman is a tempter, a woman is a weaker vessel, and everybody's regurgitating it. But in essence, it was the other way around. Women intelligence, that divine feminine intelligence, is the real order of the original creation. What you don't know is that you don't live in the original creation because the original creation has been reprogrammed, reformatted, rewired. So you live in a false consciousness. And that false consciousness is what has taught you to look down on women. No, if you're a man, I'm going to bust your bubble. You're not created first. Women came first. Women came first. That is the truth. You can quote the Bible all you want, but you know I've done my due diligence, right? I've done my due diligence. I'm quite well in biblical theologies and Christian theologies and other different studies, and I know what I'm talking. If you just go to Sunday schools, you cannot be talking what you don't know because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So The Bible we're quoting, or the Quran, is 5,000 years old. Man has been here for millions. So explain to me the disparity, which means man has been existing on the planet for millions of years, and then God decided to create another world. The one they told you that was created was the reformatting. That one came 6,000 years ago, 4,000 BC. That was when the Bible was written. That was when the story of the new creation came about, and that was when the energy switched from feminine world to masculine world, from right brain to left brain. And the program governing the world today is left brain based. That is why it's a parasitic system. The system is we live in is a system of exploitation. Exploit people. You go to war, you conquer. All these vicious energies are not the energy of the original one, it was the energy of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are the group of extraterrestrial demonic beings who conquer this plane. And as I said, if you're a materialist, you're gonna say, "Oh, why you're superstition? Why are you talking?" I'm not superstition. I probably study more than a lot of PhD people. I have material, I study, and I know what I'm talking about. So these are the things that the mainstream system are not comfortable talking about. But that is the true history of mankind. The history they taught us in school, evolutionary theory of Charles Darwin, which I've studied extensively, are all bullshit lies. The history as we have been programmed in the Bible are not accurate. Many people take it literal, as if it is God actually came to a place called Garden of Faith. These are metaphorical statements, and they teach people that for a reason, to keep you, your consciousness, to be trapped within the three-dimensional system. There are two forms of knowledge. One is called exoteric. Exoteric is the one you learn in churches, the one everybody knows, the one if you go everywhere, everybody's teaching, the one you learn in schools. Those are the plain. But the real information is hidden from the people by the elites, by the controllers, because if they teach you the truth, they cannot control you. When they teach you the truth, you'll be free from the oppressive system, and they don't want you to be free. I'm not just talking of people, folks. I'm talking of certain extraterrestrial beings, certain energy formula, certain frequency, certain certain consciousness that is non-human. So when I'm thinking of the elite are also pawns in the hands of this other higher fourth density reality. And I say these beings came from the fourth dimension. The beings that govern this plane behind the curtain are fourth density beings. These entities are fourth dimensional beings. We live in the 3D system. They are fourth density. But your mind has to go above fourth density to the fifth density. You have to bypass these beings so they don't rule your mind, so they don't control your mind. So if your mind is trapped in the third density, you think when you die, you're going to go to heaven. No, you cannot even. This is the cheapest place you can be. This dimension is the lowest dimension you can exist in. So if you don't even have the intelligence to bypass these energy vampires in the fourth density, how can you go to heaven? Because you have to pass them now before you go to heaven, right? And if your mind is trapped with this garbage they are teaching and schools and the churches, you are going to be recycled in the system over and over and over through incarnation process. You know, you're going to be reincarnated here over and over and over. And you've seen people, if you go to YouTube, you Google, you type in the search engine like a near-death experience, you're going to see hundreds and hundreds of people thinking of the dying and going to the other astral plane and going through the tunnel of light. Most of them see this tunnel of light where they go to when they die. And this tunnel of light and the Jesus they see there all this system was set up as a deceiving system. They're not real. They are fantasy. They are demonic soul recycling center. There your soul will be trapped and recycled in the material plane again. This is a higher knowledge, degree of knowledge of learning. So the light, because if you go to YouTube, you're going to see people saying that they, when they die, you see their soul come out of their body and they're confused. And then they see this light in the distance and they see a tunnel and they are speeding like bullets in this tunnel. And that is because the frequency, the demonic frequency of that tunnel is pulling you, right? It's pulling you to soul recycling center. You're going to meet somebody there, I say soul greeting or the soul guide. They welcome you and give you this quote unquote peace and make you see Jesus, but these are fake. These are fake reality. These are fake. So people shouldn't go towards light when they die because that light is a deceit, is a deception. The deception is a Luciferian deception, is a camouflage. If you see Muhammad there, people who are Muslims say they see Muhammad there. People who are Christians say they see Jesus Christ there coming to give them a hug and embrace them, and they feel absolute internal moment of peace. These are manipulations. People shouldn't go towards the light. Soul shouldn't go towards the light when they die. If you go there, know that the icons will recycle your soul back here. So a lot of people you think they've died, they've gone to heaven, are back here. They reincarnated them again. And why does these entities, these demonic beings, like to reincarnate people here in the physical world? Because they are cut off from the original creator and they feed off of your soul energy. That's why they want you in a material body. If you live here, they don't want you to escape to the real God, to the real creator. They want to trap you again through going through that tunnel. So you go there, they capture you, they cage your soul, and they recycle you in the third density over and over and over. And some people have been here for thousands of years, but then how do you remember it? Because before you reincarnate again, what do? They wipe all your memory out and they keep it in a place they call the Akashic record. The bullshit teachings of the people in the New Age say, oh, they see the Akashic record, the place, where they keep all this memory as something good, but it's actually where the archons or where the demiurge keep the memories of people, because memory, anything you think in this life is never destroyed. Any idea, any thought you have in your mind will live forever as a thought form, as a something, right? So where do they go to? They keep them trapped and locked in the Akashic record, right? And that is another teaching for another day. So to sum up this series, I'm trying to say that anyone who tells you or who teaches that a man was created before a woman, know that this teaching is a demonic teaching. I don't care where it is codified, whether it's the Quran or Bible, it is a negative teaching, it's a left part teaching. The truth about the true history of man, the true history of humanity, is that if there is anyone that comes first, is the feminine or the female, because the entirety of the cosmos, of the visible and invisible reality, constitute more of a feminine energy than of a masculine energy. In other words, if I say God is more of a female than a male, people will be like, oh my goodness, that's abomination, because we program our mind to think that God is a man. If you conceive of an entity called God in your head, you think is a man. True or false? That is a programming. That is not true. That is not true. Is more of a feminine quality. God is not like a human being, but it's more of a feminine quality. But because female quality or feminine quality have been so demonized, it's been associated with serpent in the Garden of Eden. That's how they condition their mind to look at anything feminine as evil. But it's the other way around. That what should govern the system that should rule our planet should be feminine, divine feminine energy, right? And not masculine energy. Because this masculine energy came from entities, interdimensional beings who are extremely left brain, masculine, right? This is where it's coming from. And those are the ones who are still running the planet today. So I am going to stop here. As I say, I want to make this brief I don't want to make it like an hour or two. This is a whole chain of knowledge, just like that could go into hours of presentation, but um, it's just to stimulate people's mind to look for information themselves and not just sit down with the programming they've been conditioned for years to accept and to believe. Again, I am the Wisdomizer, and this is the Primordial Wave, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.